Sitting in Nakuru made a ruling that has had legal experts questioning the rationale behind its verdict and the community now staring at a bleak future. Justice Munyao Sila directed that all the property belonging to the twin hospitals be transferred to St. Mary's Mission Hospital Company, which will in turn hold the same property in trust. The judge also directed that all the accounts held in the name of St. Mary's Mission Hospital be transferred to the same company, restricting Father Bill Friday from accessing them. For more than 17 years, the Catholic priest has been the main signatory to the accounts held by the hospitals. Regina Pass's university that the Catholic nuns had wanted the Mission Hospital property transferred to in Langata was declared null and void. The High Court judge terming the move to transfer the property to the university as ill-advised and against the wishes of the donors. The judge singled out one of the nuns, Sister Felix Mwikali, who during her testimony in court feigned ignorance about the contents of the trust deed that will have seen St. Mary's Mission Hospital transferred to Regina Pass's university, the judge terming this trust deed as a controversial document. In a shocking admission that the Catholic priest, Father Bill Friday, was a co-founder and director of the two mission hospitals, the High Court overlooked his role, leaving the priest at the mercy of the nuns. The judge ruling that the priest should not be ejected from the premises, but allowing the nuns to decide what role the embattled man of the cloth is to play. The High Court judge rubbished the importance of the role of the donors in the construction of the hospitals, and despite admitting that he had no knowledge of how the funds to construct St. Mary's Mission Hospital in Elementaita had been raised, he still went ahead and placed the ownership of the land and its property in the hands of the Catholic nuns. Sister Gashambi had told the court that the land on which the Elementaita St. Mary's Mission Hospital now sits on was given to the Assumption Sisters, but the High Court judge called her out for being economical with the truth. The judge saying the sisters were not given the land, neither did they meet the donor Joseph Ngera.
This is a gift by Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, and I love it. They know that I have that special connection with the Holy Family because of St. Joseph. And that is why they gave me this. And I still value it so much. But when there is a mistake, I'll say, and I'll point it out and say, this is wrong. But otherwise, they are good people. You can see what they gave me. I want it solved. For sure, I want it solved. I want it solved yesterday. And I have been trying. Every opportunity I get, I try to talk to them. But I must say that the leadership has been obstinate. So what can I do? I have tried. I have told them you cannot wash that linen in the public. You know the truth, and truth is God. Why don't we stick to truth and nothing else but the truth?
The judge failed to determine whose idea it was to build the hospitals, placing doubts on both Father Bill Friday and the nuns, but again went ahead and granted the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi the exclusive rights to run the hospitals. When the lead caught up with the Catholic priest, the man who has been carrying out medical ministry for 40 years now told KTN News there has always been a plan to take over the twin facilities.
The small cartel who were trying to take over St. Mary's, they hid behind the church. This has nothing to do with the Catholic Church, no. These are a few misguided individuals who are hiding behind the church as a smokescreen, reaching around for their personal thing.
But it was the effecting of the court orders, driven from the verdict of the High Court, that has now raised serious questions. Justice Munyao had directed that the nuns gain forceful entry and take over the twin hospitals in Nairobi and Elementaita. The orders were to be served to senior police officers at Gilgil and at Langata police stations.
The court ordered us to come to this place to provide security to the new management which are taking over this hospital.
But a closer look at the orders signed on the 24th day of November 2017 could not be effected because the judge had mixed up the jurisdiction of the police stations meant to carry out the orders. The judge had directed police officers from Gilgil Police Station to enforce the orders in Nairobi and those drawn from Langata Police Station to effect the orders in Elementaita. The leader has established that the Assumption sisters showed up at St. Mary's Mission Hospitals in Elementaita and Gilgil with fresh orders whose origin the High Court in Nakuru has since disowned. It was the same orders that police officers in Nairobi used to kick out staff from St. Mary's Mission Hospital in Langata. The proper orders signed on behalf of Justice Munyao by a Deputy Registrar of the High Court in Nakuru were granted on the 20th day of December last year. On a day when the judge was on leave. What is worse, Father Bill Frida's lawyer says there was no court that sat to amend or issue the fresh orders. KTN News Crime and Investigations Desk called the Deputy Registrar, who now says the orders did not originate from the High Court in Nakuru.
I wanted to find out, if the judge was on leave. Was he in that time on 20th of December 2017?
When the order was being extracted?
Yes.
He was on leave?
He was on leave.
Yeah.
Okay, but you said normally if an order like that was supposed to be made, then the applicant should have gone before the judge again.
Exactly. Now the one they are having, they ought to have come back to court.
Okay.
For it to be actually amended to read the reading now. Yes.
And were they supposed to be there inter-party, ex-party? How does it go?
No, what happens, you only apply to the courts for the judge to clarify that the order should read. Because as it is, what you saw initially that had signed on 24th of November and what actually is signed at the end of 20th is one and the same thing. So for it, I think there was need for them to come to court to actually have the same to be updated. To read the actually reading at what the purporting was actually coming out from court.
So the orders that came from the court are not the same ones that they have on these orders of the 20th of December.
Exactly, they're not similar. They're not similar to what is the court.
Ideally, both parties shall have appeared before the judge, but after informing the court through an application. If this was not done, where did the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi get the orders to eject staff at the St. Mary's Mission Hospital in Langata and attempted to do so in Elementaita? The raids at the hospital were carried out when the courts were in recess. But it's not only the controversial takeover of the twin hospitals that thousands of those who depend on the facilities are now worried about. Someone somewhere has already gained access to the hospital's bank accounts and transferred millions of shillings. KTN News has now in its possession a document showing that almost 13 million shillings has been moved from a salaries account run by St. Mary's Mission Hospital staff. It is not clear how GT Bank will authorize the withdrawal of huge sums of money on the 18th day of December 2017. The Assumption Sisters got new court orders without Father Bill Friday signing off on the transactions. The court had directed that Father Bill Friday hands over all checkbooks to a new team, but by the time the money was being withdrawn, the Catholic priest had not handed over the check, let alone seen the change of signatories. When we called the bank, the branch manager, a Mrs. Bindia, told the lead she was not in a position to share banking details with KTN News. If Father William Charles Friday did not sign off on the checks or authorize the transfer of close to 12 million shillings, who is this person who has access to the bank accounts of St. Mary's Mission Hospital? How safe are the salaries of the staff at the Mission Hospital, and what exactly was the money meant for, and who will account for it? Assumption Sisters had informed the police in November last year, 3 weeks after the court granted them orders to take over the mission hospitals, that some bank accounts of St. Mary's Mission Hospitals were allegedly being used to launder money meant for the mission hospitals. Without informing Father William Charles Friday, a police officer under instructions from the Criminal Investigations Department went to court seeking orders to investigate the accounts. What will appear as the most efficient court process, the police officer prepared an affidavit, moved to court on the same day, was granted orders to freeze the hospital accounts on the very day. But in what appears as a suspect move, the police officer also went ahead and froze Father William Charles Friday's personal accounts. The nuns had not complained about his personal accounts, and whose instructions are the police officers operating. By the time of airing this story, the Criminal Investigations Department was yet to record a statement from the Catholic priest. The Assumption Sisters of Nairobi had also failed to return our calls. In what started off as a noble cause, a medical drive to help thousands of poor Kenyans, this hospital saga has turned into a vicious scheme of controlling property at the expense of service delivery.
This place is fast becoming a referral hospital. In fact, if you look at the volume of work we do here, we are gradually becoming a referral facility. Why am I saying that? Is because we get patients from as far as Western, from as far as Lamu, Mpeketoni. Some patients traverse all this country to come to this hospital. From Mpeketoni, we get patients from Garissa. I get patients from Ethiopia, from Southern Sudan. And I don't think these people are crazy to cross this country from up there to seek for services here. It's because there's something unique about this hospital.
We have not targeted the wealthy. They're more than welcome to come to St. Mary's, but we targeted the 85% of Kenyans where, 100 shillings matters to most Kenyans. So we're trying to be careful using high quality, and high quality is not correlated with money necessarily. No, we do a high quality C-section for 7,500 shillings.
And this is his idea of running a hospital. He incorporates all the workers even. These workers in both hospitals are beyond the normal workers that we know of, because they partly own the property. They partly own the hospital. Why? Because they are told they should actually own their efforts, the labor that they actually give to this hospital. And therefore, everybody is very, very concerned. And in fact, even like that one in Nairobi, you find that it's run by one of the doctors. And a doctor runs it for maybe a period, and then those heads are selected. Even those doctors are selected by the workers.
The most expensive surgery here is hip replacement that costs 150,000 shillings, a fee that has seen other hospitals charge close to 1 million shillings. Dr. Nyango is currently studying in South Africa with the Mission Hospital, taking care of most of the needs he is facing there. But with the ongoing power struggle, his quest to get more medical knowledge hangs in the balance.
Now, on the material day, when my colleagues and friends and part of my family were being expelled from Nairobi at quite ungodly hours of the night, or of the morning, for that matter, I was on duty. I'd been on call the whole week at Groote Hospital in Cape Town. So I was called and shown pictures of people who are being, molested, goons running around, ostensibly breaking doors, getting people out, patients being chased out. I saw people complaining bitterly. And what was most disappointing was the circumstances under which it was being done. Because the perpetrators of this, expulsion of people who have been staying there came under the banner of the church. This is most disappointing to me because I have experienced what Catholic in its pure virgin form means.
The collective economic power of the poor maintains St. Mary's hospitals. Once this vast array, and I call everybody who helped us getting St. Mary started as co-founders, and we remain deeply grateful. We remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Every brick has a donor story behind it. Every room that today is occupied by a bright young Kenyan doctor, what have you, that has a story behind it.
Father Frieda wants to be buried somewhere here in the hospital, but that is a far-fetched wish if the war over the control of the medical facilities is won by the nuns. Father Bill is still being guarded by administration police officers stationed inside the mission hospital after he was attacked and left for the dead some time back. The attack came immediately after he moved to court over the ownership of the two facilities. The priest and the nuns cannot agree on who exactly owns the hospitals, but with the court ruling now pending before the appellate court, nuns have legally laid claim to the multi-billion properties. For patients and those who donated to this project, it is a sad story of a good idea that has turned into a very sad affair. Denson Sarigo, The Lead, KTN News.